Next news out of the USA, Mormon Church reportedly amassed a $100 billion fund for second coming of Christ. This story is incredible. So guys, there's two twin brothers, okay? Or one set of twin brothers, sorry.
Yeah.
David and Lars. David worked for Ensign. Ensign is the business leg of the Mormon Church, okay? Also known as Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. At the business place, he was a portfolio manager, so he was able to look at all the accounts that the Mormon Church held. One of the, branches of Ensign had $100 billion sitting in it. So David and his twin brother, gets his twin brother involved, they start looking into what this $100 billion is there for. The $100 billion is sitting, and it's all been collected from charitable use. Okay, so people who are going without 10% of their income so that they can tithe every Sunday to the church, they've been giving their money not so that their church can do good. Many people have been giving their money so it can sit in an account in case one day Jesus comes back and they need the money.
Right. So actually,
these brothers send this off.
Yes.
They're whistleblowers. They say, look at what happened. David, who worked for Ensign, says this is a violation of the IRS rules.
It is.
These people had in keeping this money. They were using money that was donated to them, and they were not using it for the charitable cause. Therefore, they need to have their tax exemptions stripped.
Yes.
Okay. Out of fear, David stops giving any more things, but Lars, his twin brother, steps up and starts telling people what's going on still behind this, because the Post reached out with their complaint, and they asked him, and Lars told them during an interview, he said, would you pay tithing instead of water, electricity, or feeding your family if you knew that it would sit around by the billions until the second coming of Christ? So what Lars is trying to get at here is he and his brother, after everything that they've amassed, all the things that they've been looking through here, they believe that this Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, the Mormon Church, has been ripping people off. They've been lying to people. They've been saying, hey, give us money by the hundreds, thousands, hundreds of thousands. We need your money. We need to start spreading the word of Christ, but really they're holding on to it for other purposes.
Right. So
they're a scam.
Yeah, they're definitely a scam. Let's break this down, right? So first of all, the Mormon Church is one of the most aggressive ones to make sure that the people go give their 10% of their income, right? To the church. Like, they go after you. Like, you have to give it. Like, they actually want proof that you're giving the 10%. Like, other churches, like, you have to give it, but they're not going to come after you if you don't give it. But the Mormon Church really aggressively goes after you, right? So,
oh, absolutely. And they threaten too, by the way.
Yeah. So the issue with charity, again, when we say we want better tax policies for churches and mosques in the United States, for example, is not that they shouldn't have a tax-exempt status. They can definitely have a tax-exempt status, but they should play by the same rules of other charities that have tax-exempt status. They have to be completely transparent about what they're doing and what they're spending money on, and how it is benefiting the society. The problem that we have is that religious organizations get tax-exempt status, and they can keep things hidden. And this is the result of it. Like, look at, like, 100 billion with a B. Like, billion. Like, what? Like, how did this get this far that go on, Aliwa?
I just wanted to point out for people who are confused about why he's saying they need to have their tax-exempt status removed. What he's talking about is the company he works for, which is Ensign. And this is what a lot of churches do. This is not just the Mormon Church, right. But churches make a lot of their money through investments, right? Investment properties and things of that nature. Mm-hmm. And when a church starts to own an investment property or another business or something that they're making their money through, that is not the same tax exempt status that they would get from being a church, right? Well, the Mormon Church has done this to where Ensign, their business leg of their church, is tax exempt, and that is wrong.
Right. So
that in and of itself is absolutely wrong. They should not be holding that, and they should especially not ever, never ever should any of the charitable money that was donated to the church, should that ever be stored and used in another branch of the church that's not tax exempt and is not there for moving the church forward.
Yeah. So what I was gonna do is say, like, so the part that is supposed to be tax exempt is the part that is spent on spreading the religion, right? Which is already nonsense by itself, right? But these people are breaking that rule as well, right? So even though that rule is nonsense, like, if you're spreading religion, you're not actually benefiting the society anyway. We don't think, like, a church, if they want to, in a just world, if a church wants to keep its tax exempt status, it actually have to show evidence how this is actually benefiting the society, right? So spreading a religion doesn't. But let's just play by the rules that they are. Even by the rules that exist, these people have broke the law, and because the churches don't have to be transparent, that's how far they've gotten to 100 billion. But this whole argument that this is for the second coming of Jesus is these people's trying. So think about how sneaky these people are, right? They're taking people's donations to the church that's supposed to go towards building the church, and they build an investment fund with it, $100 billion investment fund in it, that they're not spending the profits on it on spreading a religion. They're just keeping the profits, and their excuse, this is just so poetic and funny, that their excuse is like, oh yeah, we're not gonna the reason why we're keeping the money is because we're holding the money for the second coming of Jesus. I mean, so that's their excuse for why this is still religious, right? So, I mean, it's kind of genius. I mean, that's the only excuse you could come up with. Like, what else could you come up with, right? But that's how they're trying to say. They do that in Iran, by the way, as well. Like, a lot of people in Iran, they have to pay khums and zakat, which is like the religious donations, and they keep it in these trust funds, and they say they're keeping and they invested in so many different companies, and they keep the money. We're like, how is this a religious charity if you're just making money off of our money? They're like, oh, we're keeping it for the coming of the Mahdi, which is the guy that the Shia Muslims are waiting for, right? So this is a perfect excuse to just keep people's religious donations and keep it and not spread it to spend it on anything, and just say we're holding it for the coming of whoever your religious group is waiting for, and basically that way you never have to spread it at all. But I could use it. Then you could get into a lot of. You don't even have to have an investment fund. What if you getting into the weapon industry? Like, well, Jesus comes here, we need an army, right? So this is
here's
technically religious. Right.
Here's the problem with that, is you're not allowed to just keep holding on to money for future purposes like that if it's by donated goods. So you only have so much time to use that donated money. Okay. Right. Before you're not necessarily using it for the cause that you're telling people you're using it for anymore. So there's that problem that David here and Lars, they're trying to, and I think these guys are amazing. I don't know how the church wrapped them up in their portfolio usage of their, leg company. But that was a good choice for the rest of the world and people who are donating their money here. Because imagine.
Good job for the people that leaked it, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's great that they did this. I just don't know how these guys got this job. But okay, where was I going with that? Sorry. You're
saying even if they hold the money, they can't just hold it forever. They have to spend it.
You can't just hold it forever. You're not allowed to do that. So there's that aspect, and the other aspect of if you are holding the money, like, you're supposed to hold the money. So the Mormon Church should be holding that money, not their business branch.
Right. So how do they think they're gonna get away with this? Because they thought it will never get leaked, and because they don't have to be transparent about their data, they could just get away with this.
And that's what these brothers are trying to prevent. That's why David, who's no longer speaking publicly, probably because he's being threatened, in all honesty, but he's not directly speaking right now. But that's why he's gathered up all of the evidence to prove that this stuff.
So I wonder this IRS law. By the way, for people that don't know, IRS is like the tax collectors in the United States. This IRS law that religious organizations don't have to be transparent about what they're spending the money on. This leaked, so I wonder how many other billions of dollars of people's donations are being used for things that they're not supposed to be used for, and they're getting away with it because nobody's leaking them, right?
Right.
So, wow, okay. So what do you think is going to happen? Do you think the IRS is going to go cracking on this, and they're going to be... There's a lot of bad taxes now that these people have to pay. Like, are they going to go, demanding that they pay them?
No.
No?
Unfortunately, I don't.
Really?
Especially after we all watched, the world here watched the IRS crumble under the thumb of Scientology. I don't think that the IRS has what it takes to stand up to the Mormon Church.
Oh.
So I don't honestly, I don't think anything's going to happen. I think these two brothers, as noble as they were for exposing this, I don't think that they're going to get, sadly, what they thought was going to happen.
Christian, the top comment is from Christian. She's quoting a quote from the show The Office, from Creed in The Office. The quote is, "I've been involved with a number of cults. You have more fun as a follower, but you make more money as a leader."
I love that.
Okay. All right, let's go. Shubham, did you want to add anything to this?
No.
Okay.
Atheists are under attack in many places. If they were Christians, their voices would be heard. If they were Jews, their voices would be heard. If they were Muslims, their voices would be heard. But they are atheists, and not many seem to be listening. Let's make it difficult for them to ignore us. We have built a global community, and now we are tearing down geographic, cultural, and language barriers so we can find each other and support each other. In the last decade, we have built the largest atheist community in the world. Now we're doing the same in other languages. With your help, we have started Atheist Republic in Persian and Arabic.
انضميت مؤخرا لأسرة Atheist Republic وحيصير عندي بودكاست باللغة العربية.
As we grow, we can dedicate more time, staff, and resources to start doing the same in Spanish, Portuguese, Malay, Bengali, Urdu, Hindi, and other languages. We are providing community, support, informative content, and amplifying the voices of those who need protection, especially in countries where people feel isolated simply for their lack of belief. We want to be there for them, and we are only getting started. Help us get there. Check in the description for ways you can support our projects.